What's up, everyone? Today you're going to look at a conversation between me and my teacher friend Melissa. Two things I want you to do. One, turn on the subtitles. Two, make sure that you write down any useful words or phrases that will help your English study. Now, enjoy the video. So I just have to know, what is your hobby?
I have 3 hobbies, though I feel like I'm cheating in saying that because I haven't done these things in a while. But I've done yoga for many, many years. And I love to read when I get a chance and I'm not having to do it for studying. And I learned how to knit this year.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. That's really cool.
I'm enjoying it. I thought I would feel like a little old lady knitting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
All right. Yeah, for me, I would say my hobbies are, I really enjoy making content, as you can see. I really enjoy martial arts, so I do jiu-jitsu. And any sport, just working out, exercise. And then, what's the third one? Language. So I really love learning languages. And so I would say comfortably that I'm trilingual. So Japanese, English, and Korean are my 3.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, but I really, it's something that I enjoy. And so I want to know, like, why? Because all your hobbies are very different.
Yeah.
You have very different hobbies. Why do you do your hobbies?
Well, so yoga is for obviously physical well-being.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it really helps clear my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I wear a lot of hats in life, so yoga is it's just for wellness overall. And you said just yoga, right? Did you ask me yoga or each of them? Sorry.
Each of them.
Okay, so reading, I'm not somebody that will, devour a novel. I actually have a hard time picking fictional stories.
Yeah.
So I really love to read to cram in a bunch of knowledge related to my professional life. So my shelf at home is filled with books on leadership and education. I'm a nerd. I mean,
no, I think that's cool. That's cool. By the way, and as you're talking, it's really interesting because this podcast is for people who are learning English, right? And it's funny that I'm listening to like the idioms that you're using, and so like you're like devour a novel.
Oh.
Or you said something earlier. You said something. I'll have to play it back in the video.
Oh, I don't. Yeah. I wear a lot of hats in life, so I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I hope that's okay.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
It's all good in learning.
And so for knitting. Well, it wasn't intentional. So I have a friend that said, I can teach you how to knit. And I thought, well, that's cool. It's something I thought when I'm older, I will learn how to knit, like when I'm a little old lady. But the opportunity came up, and then I realized when I started how good it felt because I don't really have what I would call a creative outlet.
Right.
Now, I'm still following a pattern, but still being able to make something tangible versus, writing a paper is, it's creative, but it's not the same.
I understand that. I understand that because whenever I make a video, and just like the time you put into it and bringing all these little elements into it, like with the sound and the video and the editing and graphics here and there, and then you have the product at the end. You have a sense of pride with that product, and it feels really good, right? Yes. So like, what do you knit? Like, do you knit? I guess like, I don't want to say sweaters. Like, it's really, I think
no.
like, what do you knit?
My first project that I took on with once my friend showed me how to just do a regular knit stitch. I made a scarf for my daughter. Not perfect. Looks fine when it's tied around her neck, but if you look at it real close, you can see where there's a couple places where I dropped a stitch and there's a hole, or you can see how it started narrow because she's young, and then this scarf clearly had a mind of its own, and it widened over time. It really just it needed to reach its full potential. So it got wider. So I knit the scarf, and then after that, each project that I chose, I tried to learn something new. So I get on YouTube and I would try to figure out a new kind of stitch, or a new way to cast on, or working with a different yarn. So I've knit, what have I done? I've done a few hats for my son, for my husband, and for a colleague. I knit some leg warmers. I knit a big cowl. And then my current project, which I haven't touched in 6 months, is a great big, well, it will be a great big, like a triangular shawl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a big shawl.
Just a big
big
shawl.
triangle shawl. Okay.
Yeah. But every single row grows by a stitch. So, it went pretty fast initially. And now you really have to sit there for like 20 minutes just to make one row.
Wow.
And it's just going to get longer.
Seems like it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but it's like seems like it's just kind of really good for your mind just to kind of like sit there and do it.
Yeah.
So earlier you mentioned that you did yoga,
Yes.
right? And I said I do jiu-jitsu and I exercise. So why is yoga as an exercise such a good hobby?
Oh, there's so many ways to answer that. So first thing I'll say, like when I started, there was an immediate sense of community. So if you are going and you're taking classes, you're building that community there.
Yes.
Then I started in the United States. That's where I was living at the time. And I started going to studios or workshops that were further away, building community. And then it was like, I'm going to go to a weekend retreat. I'm going to go to a yoga boot camp. And so the community just kept building, and of course there's online community. So that's one way to think about it. And I'm sure that you could probably relate to that with jiu-jitsu.
I can, because there is a sense of community. Like at first it feels kind of like a cult, like jiu-jitsu, just because so many people always try to get you to join and everything. But a lot of people love it, and I think because it's such good exercise, it's one thing. But then also it's very empowering. Whenever you feel strong and you can, let's say someone is lying on you and you can flip them off and then start to choke them and stuff like that. There's
I can't relate to that.
There's a sense of empowerment because you're like, okay, this person weighs 20 kilos more than me. And yet at the same time, I'm able to really throw them around and then choke them, right? Or put them in an armbar.
Yoga's so different in that way. There's no choking, there's no competing, and really, if you're going and you're feeling like you're competing, which I have been there early in my yoga journey.
It's like who can do like the better split or.
Yeah, and that's actually not a healthy way to approach yoga. So I remember being in a studio and being like, I can do this dancer's pose better. But I had to let that go and realize and it's not a competition with yourself either. It's just bringing yourself to the mat in whatever state you're in that day.
Yeah.
It might be super energized. You might be totally empty. You might be in tears. You might be angry. You might whatever. It doesn't matter. You just bring yourself as you are. But it's taken me a lot of years to learn that. I also think it's a great hobby because you don't really need any equipment. I mean, think about it. Yoga's been around for, I think it's, don't quote me on this, 2,000, 5,000 years?
So we can say thousands
Ridiculous.
of years.
Thousands of years.
Thousands of years, yeah.
Thousands of years. And they certainly didn't have yoga mats in the beginning.
Right.
So you don't need them.
Right.
So you could just throw down a downward dog wherever you are, in the middle of the street, in the park, on a rock, whatever.
Yeah.
Or if you want to just spend a little bit of money, you can have a mat. That's it. You don't have to have big weights. You don't have to. You don't have to go to a studio.
Right.
As long as you have enough space to fit your body. That's it.
It's the beauty of it. Same for jiu-jitsu. I mean, we can just drop right on the ground and just start rolling around and trying to choke each other and stuff. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I think probably for me, the biggest thing that I like with hobbies that are very physical, like exercise type hobbies, is that it's just really good for you mentally.
Yes.
As well. Especially like whenever I'm stressed. And whenever we're stressed, sometimes we don't want to go exercise just because we just want to rest. But there's certain times where I force myself to go. And then and I get into it and I get relaxed. It really does feel like I'm just kind of releasing a lot of tension. Right? And I feel like that's one of the best parts about exercise is that it helps take you out of, like you said, you come with however you are.
Yeah.
It takes you out of that kind of that place of frustration, or it takes you out of that place of just being tired and gives you some energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to only practice in studios because I didn't have the discipline to practice at home. I had the ability to, like, back in the day when you had CDs, I had I had audio classes, but I would never push myself to really get something out of it. But now my practices are at home, and I've gotten to the point where as soon as I put out that mat and I get myself onto the mat, I can just feel the calm. Just my body and my mind is trained to know now we're going to do something for us,
Right.
But with that being said, talking about discipline, when the pandemic hit, I have to say my discipline kind of went out the window, because at the start of the pandemic, or before the pandemic, I was getting up at 4:40 in the morning.
Wow.
I'd get on the mat by 5 a.m., hour practice every day. Weekend would be longer. And then I would get ready for work and go to work and feel like $1 million.
Oh, God, I wish.
But then the pandemic came.
Yeah.
We were teaching from home.
Yeah.
And so it became really easy, really fast to be like, I'm just going to hit snooze.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the decline of my yoga practice. So I do have faith that it will come back to me. Yeah, I'm just in a season right now of my life.
That's it. It's just a season.
It's just
not
season.
Forever. It's not forever.
Exactly. Because I need it. I miss it.
So, for all of the people who are watching out there, learning English and everything, which hobby would you recommend to other people? And I know you love all your hobbies.
I do.
But maybe either which one would you recommend, or if you do recommend more than one, just maybe you can tell us why.
Sure. Okay. I actually want to do both kinds of recommendations. So if I had to pick one of mine, I would, without a doubt, recommend yoga. And I would because of all the physical and mental and emotional benefits, but also there is a kind of yoga out there for everybody. So, and I've tried a few different kinds of yogas, and then you find the one where you're like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is the one that makes me feel amazing.
Is it hot yoga?
So that is,
That's
hot
the only one I
yoga.
know.
It's power vinyasa yoga, which does have heat. It does have heat. So that's what I started with, and I was like religious about it. Like it had to be only power yoga.
Yeah.
But now that I'm in this other season of life, gentle yoga has become my friend. I used to turn up my nose at gentle yoga. Who needs that? Even when I was, pregnant, I was like, gentle yoga, I don't need that. Now I need it. So there really is. It doesn't matter if you are wheelchair bound. There's yoga for you. It doesn't matter if you're older or younger, or it doesn't matter. I promise there's a kind of yoga for you. And the other recommendation I want to make is having different kinds of hobbies.
Oh, yes. That's actually a really good recommendation.
So something where you're taking care of your physical self. And then, of course, so many options out there for you to find what feels right to you, or what multiple things. Something to grow intellectually. And then something for creativity. And there can be overlap with those things. I mean, yoga can be creative.
Right.
So I think having those categories kind of helps you be well-rounded and balanced.
Yeah, I think, and that's what it's all about, is being well-rounded, and it's that sense of balance, right?
Yeah.
Not being too heavy on one side, but you're taking care of these different aspects of life, right? Because there's different aspects of people. I would say, the one I would recommend. Of course, I'm gonna say jujitsu. But I would also agree that, let's say, for language-wise. If I was to just recommend all my hobbies for language-wise, like, language is very important when it comes to, like, growing just mentally, intellectually, but also socially as well. You meet new people and everything with language. And then, again, jiu-jitsu, health and mind and body. And then as well as, what's my other one? Content. And that's more like, hey, stop fighting. Thank you. Jeez.
Children.
The cat. Oh, but I would say, like, with YouTube is very technical, right? It's very technical. It's very more focused on business and everything as well. So, like, I feel like that's a really good hobby also to kind of grow into, like, okay, now how can I grow more business? Like, how can I grow more financially and things like that?
Yes.
So, thank you very much for sharing today.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, you're welcome, man. So, and I really hope that our conversation helped you, especially growing in your English. But what I want to know is, what are your hobbies? Please let us know in the comment box below if you have 1 hobby, 2 hobbies, 3 hobbies, and which hobbies would you recommend to somebody else? Again, thank you very much for coming on, Melissa.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Yes, I didn't even introduce you in the video, but you will have a title above your name or below you. That's going to say who you are.
Can I pick what title I get?
Yes, you can choose the title. So until the next video, you guys make sure you study hard. Peace.